Thank you for watching us on YouTube. But did you know that if you're on the go, you can get the full show as a podcast now? You can get our morning breakdown of the most important topics facing our country, news not being covered by the mainstream media, interviews with change-making progressives, and info on what you can actually do about all this. Search for The Damage Report on your favorite podcast app and subscribe so you know when new episodes are ready to go. The choice of the Republicans to have the sex crimes prosecutor ask all the questions rather than them, what do you think about that?
From what I've seen, it was a poor choice, to say the least, because of a number of different reasons. First, it's abundantly clear that they're hiding behind her skirt. You have nothing but men on the Republican side of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they don't want to lose political points by asking Christine Blasey Ford the questions that they want to ask her. At the same time, the prosecutor, Ms. Mitchell, I don't know where she's going with her line of questioning. She seems to harp on the fact that that Blasey Ford spoke to the Washington Post. My favorite exchange was when she asked Dr. Blasey Ford, why did you decide to conduct this polygraph test in Baltimore? And Ford responds with, my grandmother had died and her burial was in the area. And so the person who conducted the polygraph test was kind enough to meet me there so I can, do this lie detector test. And again, it goes back to how credible these allegations are. She hasn't tripped up at all, even with this highly experienced prosecutor asking her the questions, trying to catch her in lies. Dr. Ford has done an incredible job. And by the way, it's not about doing an incredible job. She's credible because I genuinely believe that the allegations are truthful.
I find it hard to imagine anything more likely, or more realistic,
And look, I actually I have not bought into the believe the victims immediately. No, that's not okay. Because that means anyone can come forward and just say, I'm sexually assaulted. You can't just immediately believe the person. However, I do think it's important to take those allegations seriously. And I think it's important to investigate them. And the fact that the Republicans refuse to get the FBI involved to do a more thorough background investigation, given the new allegations, given the new information, it tells you something. They are afraid of the truth. They just are.
They don't want Mark Judge there.
They don't want Mark Judge there. They don't want the FBI involved. I know that if I were accused of anything like that, if I were accused of serious criminal offenses, I would fight to get the FBI involved to clear my name. But they do not want to do that. And I think it's because they either know what the truth is or they don't want to find out.
They're afraid of what the truth might be, Yeah, I was just reminded looking at the screen there, if you're watching, you're seeing this. But if not, phone number where you can call in and hopefully put a little bit of pressure, make your voice heard for senators who are maybe right now considering where their vote should go. The number is 202-804-8191 to have your voice be heard with the Senate. And that's something that I am going to want to return to. I do want to just point out, and you alluded to this, obviously we're focusing on these hearings. These hearings are happening. You're going to see Christine Blasey Ford, you're going to see Kavanaugh. I'm curious whether it's going to be the sex crimes prosecutor asking questions of Kavanaugh or not. I'm not actually sure about that. But what you're not seeing, and what Grassley was quick to say, we're not debating right now, all these other allegations. Like yes, Christine Blasey Ford has accused him of this, but Deborah Ramirez is there. He's been accused of participating or at least being part of gang rapes and trains of men raping women who have been drugged into incoherence.
Julia.
It seems odd that that's not being talked about more.
Julia Swetnick was the third accuser. And yesterday there were two other stories that broke, including two other accusers, but there are very few details on that.
Yeah, there's one that has to do with a 1998 case of him like physically assaulting someone with witnesses there. That's now being investigated, but we still don't know too much about it. I'm sure once the FBI is done investigating, we'll know everything. Oh wait, that's not happening, that's crazy. Yes, okay, so you just brought up something I definitely wanted to talk. So while this is going on, obviously we're watching this. Everybody's responding on social media. It seems like the nation is watching because 18 out of 20 trending topics on Twitter at one point were about this. But I am particularly interested in two people who are watching this, and that is Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. What they have seemed to at least want you to think they're taking this seriously and that they want it investigated. What do you think, what effect will today's testimony that we've seen so far have on their votes?
Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are the moderate Republicans, and
for whatever that's worth.
But it is worth something. Because remember, when it came to repealing the Affordable Care Act, they were willing to do the right thing. And at least initially,
For what it's worth.
For what it's worth. But no, I think that this could be a gross political miscalculation on the part of Senate Republicans. And what I mean by that is even after going through this rushed hearing, even after consistently backing Kavanaugh, there's a possibility, even after getting this prosecutor involved, right? Those are all like political strikes against them. They might still lose because they need the votes of Jeff Flake, by the way, who is also kind of wavering. They need Murkowski, they need Collins. We'll see what they do. I don't want to give them too much credit because I have no idea. But among, Republican lawmakers, they have been the ones who have willingly come out and said, these make me uncomfortable, you know? And by the way, the reason why Collins and Murkowski are moderates is because of their voters. I mean,
they sort of are forced to be.
They're forced to be, and that's an important thing to point out because I think that their constituents are gonna be the ones who push them to do the right thing.
Yeah, I hope so. It seems crazy that after all of the concerns that they've raised, and now we find out about all this additional stuff, if they vote to confirm him, I mean, there's no longer the moderate Republicans. They're in lockstep with the worst excesses of the modern Republican Party. So that's the two women. There are two men I want to talk to too and give them a little bit of advice. One is Joe Manchin. During the break, we were talking about this, and I decided not to send the tweet because it doesn't really mean anything. But I will say, and this is mainly to Joe Manchin, although possibly not just to Joe Manchin, any Democratic senator who votes to confirm him should be thrown out of the party, whatever that means. I don't know what it means, but they should be considered a piece apart from the Democratic Party if they vote to confirm him. There is no obligation to do so. There are any number of concerns having nothing whatsoever to do with these accusations that would lead you to not support him, in particular as a Democrat. But in all of this additional stuff that we're finding out, there is absolutely no way that you can support him. My advice to the other man would be to Brett Kavanaugh. His statement should be short when he comes out. It should be, I hereby remove myself from consideration for the Supreme Court. That is the only honorable course to take.
I agree.
He is a liar. It has been shown now, not just in this area, but especially in this area. And he is only going to look worse if he comes out and aggressively attacks the reputation of Christine Blasey Ford after all that we've heard. He says that he has worked his whole life towards female empowerment and respect of women. Okay, well, you have an opportunity to do that. Remove yourself from consideration, admit that you did it, and spend the rest of your life and your considerable resources working to improve the lives of other women who've been victimized by powerful men. That would be a great opportunity. Probably not one he's gonna take though.
Yeah, he's been indignant, he has denied everything. And I think it's unlikely that he's gonna, withdraw the nomination.
Do you think? How do you think he is going to? What will his tone and strategy be? Do you think, if you had to predict?
So there's a lot of speculation. I'm seeing a lot of reporters arguing that he is going to come at this in an angry way. But I think
does that seem like a good idea?
Well, I think now he might change his strategy, and so. There was a New York Times reporter who had said on The Daily, which is a podcast for the New York Times, that he's now more likely to be indignant, but not necessarily angry, and that he will deny these accusations aggressively.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, some of the questioners have tried to use that doppelganger theory, the theory that she's just mistaken, she was attacked by somebody.
Oh, I loved her answer about that, by the way.
I found it to be a little bit too intelligent. No, really, like she
used.
Are
you serious?
No, she was using the actual terminology that's totally true about the effect of various neurochemical, like neurotransmitters and stuff like that. But I think it was too much.
No, I think it's important because she is using proven scientific data to explain why it is that she remembers. Like, cause remember, everyone's like, well, she doesn't remember all these details, these very specific details about that night, including the exact location or the exact date. So how is it that she remembers that it was, Mark Judge and Brett Kavanaugh in the room? And I think explaining it from a scientific perspective is not only credible, but it's a strong way of answering that question.
Yeah, and Think about the worst traumatic things that have happened to you, and I bet you remember all sorts of specific details about it. Like I remember, so I've talked previously about the death of my father. He died in a hospital room of cancer. I was obviously there with my whole family. I remember that I was drinking a chai latte from Dunkin' Donuts when he actually died. These little facts get drilled into your mind because of how activated your brain is, knowing that you're never gonna fully come back from this. So this is one of those moments that stands out. We've all had experiences like that. The idea that she had a hand over her mouth, that she was looking up in the face of a man, and she just forgot what he looked like, wasn't really sure at the time. How stupid, how ignorant, how insulting is that idea?
Incredibly insulting.
Yeah.
You know, when I was younger, much younger, my brother had, I was crossing the street with my dad and my brother. My dad's holding both of our hands, and my brother's shoe fell off. And then I immediately let go of my dad's hand, turned around to go grab to grab my brother's shoe, and the car almost hit me. And I remember exactly what the shoe looked like. It was a Power Ranger shoe. Okay, my brother was only 5 years old at the time.
He was 20.
But I couldn't tell you.
show.
I couldn't tell you what the car that almost hit me looked like. You know what I mean? You remember certain things very, very well, but not every little detail. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.